Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning for our second installment of the Self-Alignment Sessions. I am Salima Shaheed with Muslimat Collective, one of your co-hosts for today. So we'll go ahead and open up with a prayer because you always start asking God to help you. So we'll start with a prayer or dua, as it's said in Arabic. I will say it in Arabic first and then translate in English before we get started. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. And what's translated is we seek protection with our Lord from the devil, with our Lord's name, the most gracious and most merciful. All praise is due to God, the most gracious, most merciful, Master of the Day of Judgment. Thee alone do we worship, and thee alone do we seek for aid. Show us the straight way, the way of those upon whom you have bestowed your favor, not those upon whom you bestowed your wrath, nor those who go astray. Ameen. And forgive me if I messed up that translation. It's been a while. So please forgive me if I messed up the translation. But welcome, and I am going to turn it over to our lovely co-host for this morning session, Basima Nance.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Salima. So, assalamu alaikum, everybody. We are super excited to have this session today. I think it's very relevant to everything going on. But before we jump into it, what I want to do is just give everybody a brief chance to just state your name and where you're listening in from, and then we'll do a really quick activity, icebreaker activity. So, Nadira, if you'll just go first.
Okay, yeah. So I am Nadira Habibullah, and I am from Kansas City, Missouri.
Thank you, thank you. And Sandira?
Assalamu alaikum, Sandir Amin. I'm in Cypress, Texas.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much. And Wilma?
My name is Wilma Al-Uqda, and I'm in Houston, Texas.
All right. And Baina? Oh, there you go.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Baina Khalil, Houston, Texas.
Awesome. And I didn't say who I'm Basima, and I live in Houston, Texas as well. And Salima, yeah, same. Yes, Salima is also here. Okay, yeah, here in Houston. All right, and so what we're going to do today is similar to kind of what we've done in the past. Is I'm going to share a whiteboard. All right, and so now everybody, you see a whiteboard on your screen? Okay, great. And so the prompt for today is, what is something you need? So the reason we do a whiteboard is because it's anonymous, so you don't know who's typing what. And if you want to just write a couple of different things in, we'll just take a second to do that like right now. So you can either use the draw tool or the text tool. And if you don't know how to get to the writing thing, does everybody know how to write on the whiteboard?
I
No?
don't.
Okay, you have to go to, oh gosh, Salima, I might need your help on this again.
It's in the options. It should say I give you the option to annotate. So at the either top of your screen, bottom, it'll say annotate, and then that'll give you your pencil.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you can use text and type it in.
Let's see it.
Oh, I might need to do text. That's looking kind of looking raggedy.
The draw.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be cute and draw a little something.
Okay, I see some fun, fun things coming up here. So just currently we have more alone time, some shared experiences. I think behind that somebody said movement. Definitely feeling that. I need to get away from this house. That's very real. And then we have rest. Awesome. Very, very, very good things. And so I'm not gonna discuss too much because I think this session is very timely because of the things that we're talking about here. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to Salima, and we can go ahead and do the video for Muslimat Collective, and then we'll get started.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to talk a little bit about or introduce who Muslimat Collective is. For those who don't know, and even for those who do, is a little bit of a reminder. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Houston, Texas, where our focus is women and building community amongst women. So I will stop there and I will share a little, I will share some more information through a video that we have developed for this process. So let me see that I can find it. Try that again. We thank you for your patience because we are not, oh, here we go. We are not techies. And so we are learning on the fly. Okay, here we go. Move that up.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. My name is Fatima Muhammad. I am a founding member of Muslimat Collective, a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Houston, Texas. Our mission is to model sisterhood support through business, education, entertainment, and service. We have two main goals. Number one is to build a diverse, supportive community amongst women. Number two is to create social gatherings for women so we can learn from and celebrate one another. We accomplish these goals by creating experiences that are professional, dynamic, and fun. Our annual marquee event, the Beyond the Veil Fashion Show, was first held in 2017. BTV, as we call it, is a show for women who value chic, modest clothing. It brings together women of diverse race, ethnicity, age, origin, and religion. BTV is not only a fashion show, but a fundraiser. We have raised over $14,000 for various causes. Muslimat Collective became a nonprofit in 2019. Since then, we have added 3 new recurring events. The Sisters Only Iftar is an annual event held during Ramadan. Sisters gather to share a meal in good company. Also, we host the Back to Life Ladies Game Night on the first Saturday of every month as a way for women to gather in a competitive, fun social space. Additionally, we host the self-alignment sessions on the 3rd Saturday of every month. This event deals with topics relevant to women's wellness and serves to provide practical information on becoming our best selves. Muslimat Collective asks for your support. We are a young, small organization made up of a very few hardworking and dedicated volunteers. We strive to continue bringing dynamic events and programs, but we cannot do it without you. Here's how you can help. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Muslimat Collective. Sign up for our email list. Come to our events and bring a friend. Volunteer with us. Donate. Contributions are tax deductible. We hope to see you at our next event. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.
Alrighty, so that's a little bit about us and who we are. So again, the things that you could do today, this event is free to you, although it's not free to us. But so we ask something of you. We ask if you would go and like our pages if you haven't already. And if you feel so compelled, you can make a donation. We would appreciate it. But again, we try to bring these events free as much as we can because we think the information is valuable and we want as many of our sisters to be able to benefit from it as possible. So with that, I will turn it back over to our co-host, Basima.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's the first time I've seen that video. I love that video. And I also love today's guest. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our presenter today. Her name is Nadira Habibullah, and she's a graduate of Drexel University and a licensed marriage and family therapist. Her background is in community mental, and she has worked with individuals, families, and couples with a variety of presenting problems, including depression and anxiety, familial discord, parent-child relationships, marital strife, life transitions, trauma, and more. Through attachment, companionship, and exploration of narratives and traditional CBT techniques, she helps her clients better understand and handle life's stressors. Yes, yes, thank you. So without further ado, we have Miss Nadira Habibullah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for inviting me here and for having me here. I am happy to do this. Basima, I haven't seen you in like forever, ever. So this is really good, and I'm really, really happy to be here with you guys.
Yes, thank you. We're super happy to have you. And so whenever you're ready, definitely just
Okay, for sure. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, I think I'm actually going to keep it in this format because it kept freezing when I put it on the slideshow. So you'll still be able to see it, but I'm just going to keep it like this because I don't want it to freeze anymore. But so my topic is finding peace in a pandemic. And so when you asked about like, what's the topic that we can do, I was like, okay, I want something that people can relate to, something that's going to be pretty universal. And I know that this pandemic for pretty much all of us has thrown us way out of our comfort zones, just totally, and for a lot of people, a sense of internal chaos. And so peace is hard to find these days. So I was like, let me see what I can put together so that we can help to get our peace back, at least some of it. So the first thing for me, so I'm always big on stories. What are we telling ourselves in our head? What stories are we creating? Because always in our life, whatever we're doing, good or bad, we're always creating a story around it. We don't always realize that we're doing this, but that's what's happening in our head. And so the stories that we create about whatever it is we're experiencing, that's what brings us the joy, the pain, the stress, the trauma, the whatever it is. It's always the story that we create. It's not necessarily the event that we are experiencing. You can have like two different people experiencing the same event. One person could experience it as positive or neutral, and the other person could experience it as extremely negative. And it's all about how they're understanding it and how they're making sense of it in their head. And so I'm always going to bring it back around to the stories, what stories are we telling ourselves? And I think that this idea of what's the story, to me, it brings to mind, there's a hadith that says the affairs of the Muslim are strange because, if something good happens, then we are grateful. And so it is good for us. And if something bad happens, then we are patient. And so it is good for us. And I feel like that is the same type of message, that no matter whatever it is that's happening to you, good or bad, are you able to understand it in a way so that you can find that it's really something that's good for you? So with this pandemic happening and people are losing their jobs and people are dying and just all types of horrible things, a lot of us are creating stories of fear, stories of stories that are not helpful for us, and stories that are very negative. And so I have here, what stories are you telling yourself about your life right now? And how is that story affecting you? So these are just some examples of the stories that I am being punished. Some people feel that like, oh, this is a punishment because mankind has been bad, or because I have been bad, or I haven't done whatever it is that I need to do. I am living in the end of times. A lot of people feel like, like, oh, this is a sign, the world is about to be over. All these horrible things are happening. We don't have much time. We about to clock out of here. And this will never end. Like, oh my God, we have been in here. This is just about to go on for the next 12, 1,500 years. We can't get out of it. There are other more positive stories we can tell ourselves, like, I have the opportunity for rest and repair. So seeing this is like, okay, this is a different time, but I'm going to try to relax. I'm going to repair. I'm going to use this time to help me. Or I have the opportunity for reflection and growth. So a lot of people have been able to use this time to grow their businesses, like especially people who had online businesses or have had to shift to an online business. They've been able to grow it, and they've been able to use this to expand their horizons and step out of their comfort zones. I am being tested and I can't handle it. That's another negative story that we may tell ourselves. So we feel like, oh, everything that's going on is just too much. It's too big. I cannot handle it. Or a more positive one, I am being tested and I'm succeeding. So yeah, this is a test. Yeah, it's rough for me. Yeah, it's hard, but I can do it. I can succeed. I can win at this test. So these are just examples of different types of stories that we tell ourselves a lot of times without even realizing that we're telling ourselves. And so if you find, like, I want you guys to just kind of check in with yourself and say, what kind of story am I telling myself about this pandemic, about what's happening right now? And how is that story affecting me? So is this a story that helps me to feel any bit of ease? Is this a story that helps me to feel more relaxed? Is this a story that helps me to feel like I have any bit of control? We don't have any control over the pandemic, but is the story that we're creating around it, does it give us any level of control over our lives, over our thinking about our lives? And so if the answer is no, if you feel like you have one of these more negative stories you're telling yourselves, and a lot of us do, then we have to ask ourselves, am I open to another interpretation? So this is something that I ask myself probably every day. Because I can tell myself lots of stories about different things that are upsetting to me. And so in my head, I might be like, well, this is mad, this is horrible, this is crazy, or this can't go this way, or this has to be that way. And I'll get myself really worked up. And so I have to calm myself and be like, chill out. Are you open to another interpretation? It doesn't have to, whatever it is that you're experiencing, it doesn't have to mean what you say it means. It doesn't have to mean what you feel it means. Because sometimes we may have feelings, and in the moment, they feel so big, they feel so real. We just feel like, no, this is the absolute truth. You can't tell me anything else is true other than what I feel right now. But that's not always the case. Sometimes our feelings are not an accurate representation of reality or what's going on. And so I have to check in with myself often, be like, hold up, are you open to another interpretation? Because the interpretation that you have right now is not really working for you. And so these are kind of some reframes I have here. So for example, if someone is saying like, I am being punished, this pandemic as a punishment, if that's your story, then you're coming at it from a place of blame and guilt and feeling down about yourself. So to reframe it from I am being punished to I am being tested. A test is something that you go through to just prove readiness, and it's just to check and see, to get more information about, oh, okay, am I ready to move on? Is there something else that I need to learn? But there's not necessarily a level of judgment in a test. You can be tested just because it's time for a test, but it doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean that you are unworthy. So if that's the story, I am being punished, then try reframing it, just saying, I am being tested, or I am living in the end of times. A lot of people are saying that. And if that's how you feel like, okay, no, this is one of the signs of the end of times. Okay, we can go with that. But how does that story affect you? So if that story affects you, it makes you feel like, oh my God, like we all about to die, it's about to be over, like the trumpet is about to blow. If that's what you're thinking and it's bringing you anxiety and it's making you feel bad, then reframe it and say, I have the opportunity to reprioritize, meaning, okay, I do honestly feel like we are in the end of times. I do feel like this is a sign that things are getting close to the end. However, this is actually a mercy for me, because if I know that we're in the end of times, if I know that time is short and I don't have that much to go on, then I need to use this to reprioritize. So if I know that I have issues. I don't get along very well with my mother. I need to work that out. Or if I know that, there's some things that I've done and my character has just been kind of shady. I've been, doing people wrong. I've been doing fraud or whatever it is, I need to get that worked out. So you're still having that same belief. It's in the end of times, but you're changing the way you understand it. So rather than saying like, oh, this is time to freak out, but to say, you know what, this is an opportunity for me to realign myself so that whenever the trumpets do blow, whenever it's time to go, whenever I have to leave this world and go meet my maker, I'm going to feel okay with it. I'm going to feel good and be in a good place. Or if your negative thought is, I'm being tested and I can't handle it, then a reframe is, I'm being tested and I need more support. Because lots of times when we feel overwhelmed and we're thinking like, oh my God, this is too much, I can't handle it, I can't do it. Lots of times we're also feeling alone, or we're also feeling unsupported, or we're also feeling like there's some type of need that is not being met. And so to be able to reframe it and say, yeah, I am being tested. Yeah, this is rough, but it's not that I can't handle it. It's that I need more support. Is that there's something there that's going to help me, but I don't have it yet, or I haven't been able to ask for it. So reframing in that way lets us know it's not about not being able to handle it. You can handle it. Humans are amazingly resilient. We're made that way, but you may just need more support. So you may need to reach out to your support system and talk to them more. You may need to get more support, particularly if you are a person who is very much like, I'm the strong, independent type. Like, I'm good. I take care of it. I get things done. Don't worry about me. I don't worry about me. And a lot of mothers can be like that because, we take care of our families. We make sure the kids are good. We make sure the husband's good. We make sure our parents are good. Anything like that. And so it can be easier to put ourselves on the back burner or just tell ourselves that, like, I'm fine. I can do it. I'm a mate. Like, I'm this whole Wonder Woman sort of thing. No, you're not. You're not. I'm not. None of us are. So, like, I'm always very much against that idea of like, oh, be the super strong Black woman and stuff. Like, okay, if that works for you, but that does not work for me because I feel like a lot of times it tells us that like we don't need as much support as other women. Like other people, they need help and stuff, but not me. I can just do it by myself. I can carry everything, the whole world on my shoulder. Yeah, like no, I can't. I can't, and I don't want to. I don't want to. Like humans, we're made to be social. We're made to need help. We're made to be around other people and to interact with other people. So I never want to have that level of independence where I'm just doing everything by myself because that's too hard on me. That's too draining on me. And it's too draining on a lot of us. We may not realize it, but when we sit and slow down and think about it, a lot of us will realize that it's not beneficial to just tell yourself that I can do everything by myself and it's just me and I'm strong enough. So also, this will never end. I know, at least for me, when this first started, I was like, oh, okay, let's just hunker down for like 2-3 weeks, maybe a month. We'll be good. We'll get back to it. We're in month like 7. This is going on for long. None of us expected this. So if your story is, oh my God, this will never end, like it's just horrible, I'm going to die, then we can change it to, this is lasting long, super long, but it will end because all things end. And so that's something that we always have to understand. Everything is always changing. Everything is always flowing. There's nothing that's just going to last forever. And eternity will be forever. But in this life, it is temporary. We will not be in any state for long. So even when we're experiencing ease and joy, okay, that's fine. But that will end at some point because we're always cycling. Even when we're experiencing hardship, like right now, that will end. Everything ends. So the next one, and this is a big, big thing. So many people, because of the pandemic and because of how things have changed, are experiencing a huge increase in feelings of anxiety and depression and all these types of things. And a lot of it is coming from loneliness. A lot of us are lonely because we're not, like, people are working from home, so they're not getting to go to work as much. Or maybe if you usually, go visit your mothers on the weekend or something like that, well, people are not trying to do that because we're trying to social distance. Or you usually, oh, we get together with my friends, once a week or whatever, we do happy hour. Most of us are not doing that anymore. We're spending more times by ourselves and we are lonely. And this is so damaging just to the human spirit. We were not made to be alone. Like, everyone needs alone time, whereas you have a specific amount of time where you're by yourself and you need to, decompress and process your thoughts. That's good. But like long stretches of time where we're alone and by ourselves, it's just not good for us. And so I have here, humans are wired for connection, and our brains suffer when we spend too much time alone. So it's not even just the issue of like, oh, being alone makes me feel down. Being alone makes me feel kind of sad. No, it's very serious. Like being alone for long periods of time or having feelings of loneliness, they literally change our brain in a negative way. So I used to do a lot of work with young mothers and women who were pregnant. And so I would talk a lot with them about the whole point of my work was to help increase their connection between them and their child. So I would talk a lot about the importance of holding babies and talking to them and, hey, how you doing? And doing that whole sorts of thing. Sometimes people think like, oh, you'll spoil that baby. Don't hold that baby too much. Keep that baby down or things like that. And they feel like they're doing something good, but it's actually very, very damaging to the forming brain, that new infant brain. And so I have on here the Russian orphanages. So back in like the 80s or 90s, there were these orphanages in Russia that were overflowing with children. They had far more children than they had caretakers. So they were basically just doing like the bare minimum, like, okay, give them something to eat, change the diaper and go. These children were not being held much. They weren't being touched. They weren't being talked to. And they found that over time, as the kids got older and they got adopted out or they just kind of grew up, aged out the system and went on and lived their lives, they had huge, huge problems with emotional regulation and just being able to connect with people and being able to build relationships. And so some different researchers and scientists started saying, well, hey, what's going on? And so they started actually doing brain scans and looking at their brains. And they found that the children who had not been held much, who didn't have much interaction, literally their brains were smaller, so they didn't even develop to the full size. And there were certain parts of their brain where there should be activity on a brain scan. You should see it light up, and there was no like activity going on. So there were literally parts of the brain. When you look at the brain scan, I should have there are pictures, you can find this online. I should have put that in. I didn't think of it now, but you can see like the brain scan of a person who's been neglected and the brain scan of a person who's been nurtured, and they look totally different. It's just lots of black areas on the one that's been neglected because the brain literally didn't form properly. And so the brain is smaller, it has less activity, and it just really, really makes it harder for that person when they grow up in life and they try to have relationships. So it's a big deal, but that is dealing with young children. So people may be thinking, well, I'm grown now, my brain is fine. It's already to the size that it needs to be, but still there can still be very long-term damaging effects from extended periods of loneliness. And so there are studies now that they do on rats. They would never intentionally expose people to these sorts of things, but where they took some rats and they put them in isolated conditions and just kind of monitored their behavior, monitored their brain activity. And so they found that after 3 months of isolation, their brains shrunk. So these were rats that were fully fine. They were, normal. They had a normal little rat life, but up until this point, nothing was wrong. And then when they exposed them to this prolonged isolation, they noticed a shrinkage in parts of the brain and that there was an increase in DNA damage. And so they haven't done these types of studies on humans just because it would be inhumane, but they have found that people who have been like prisoners of war or who have been in situations where they have just not had a lot of human contact, when they look at their brains, they found the same thing. So you can have a perfectly formed human brain and then be put into prolonged isolation, and it can really, really damage you. So loneliness is such a bad thing for us. We're just not made to be that way. And so we have to really, really search and be creative and find ways to interact with other people. So even though that's hard now because we're all supposed to be social distancing, we're not supposed to be around people as much as we can, but for our minds, for our hearts, for our spirits, we have to find ways to connect with people. And so this is a big thing. So we have to increase our social interaction. We have to find a way to do that. So first of all, I think the biggest thing is to start with your own family. So the people that you live in your house, because nobody's social distancing from their kids and from their husband and stuff. So you're already right there with them. So a big thing that we can do that I feel like this used to be the norm back years ago, but now everybody kind of goes and does their own little thing, but like family dinners, just making it a point to say like, oh, okay, at 7 o'clock or at 6:30 or whatever, we sit around the table and we talk, we do our thing, we eat our food, because we all know anybody who's just like gotten together gotten together with friends or family members around some food, you know that anytime you get together and there's people and food, there's just naturally going to be conversation. You don't even have to plan it. It just comes out of it. Like that's just part of, we're all going to feel connected, especially when the food is good. Like, oh yeah, this is good. What is it? You know, it's just going to be some conversation that comes out of it. And so we have to make it a point to bring that back into our home. So if you guys are already doing that, excellent, keep it up. But if you're not, then try to institute that into your life and say, okay, we are going to make this. And if you can't do it every single day, okay, that's fine. Then we're going to do it 3 days a week, 4 days a week, whenever you can. But just make it a point to say, okay, we are going to sit down as a family, talk about our day, interact with each other, spend our time. This is our time to decompress, talk about what went well in our day, what went poorly in our day, what stressed us, whatever. We're going to do that. Also, things like game nights or going on family walks or playing sport. That's going to get harder now since it's getting colder, but people are very creative in finding ways to just increase the interaction, because what you do specifically doesn't matter. You could be doing anything. You could just be, you know, having a movie night, everybody sitting together watching the same movie. You could be drawing. You could be reading a book together. Like this is something that I do sometimes with my children. Like we'll pick a book, I'll let them pick a book, and then we'll take turns reading it. Like they'll read a page, or you know, I'll read a page, and we'll kind of go around. So whatever you do, it's up to you. It doesn't matter, but it's just about doing something together. And like I have here, creating shared memories. So doing something that you guys are doing together that you can enjoy, so that afterwards you guys can look back on that. Like, man, remember when we did that thing? Remember we used to sit and read those books on Saturday? That was so fun. You know, that was nice. That was cool. Or even if it wasn't, it's still creating a shared memory. So you can be like, remember when mama used to make us sit and read those books and we used to have an attitude? Even though you're looking back on it like, I didn't like doing it, you know, really inside you feel good, because you know it made you, like, you can probably think of things from your own childhood, like, remember when we used to get in a fight and mama would make us sit and hold hands? Like you know, you have an attitude about it, but really that's a good memory for you. So you want to do more things so that we can create shared positive memories with our family and with our loved ones. So virtual meetups, being able to get online, you know, everybody log into Zoom or whatever it is, and just kind of talk about your day or play games like we did at the beginning, or, you know, finding ways to go outside so that you guys can still be together, but it's safer. So you're outside and you can kind of distance and not be all up in each other's space like that. So just finding different ways to ensure that you are interacting with other people. And so I have here, social media and text messaging is not a replacement for in-person phone or video. We need to see and hear other people. And so a lot of people, especially the younger generations, like people under 25 or so, that spend a lot of time on social media, a lot of time online. They're reporting like really high levels of anxiety, depression, and suicide ideation. And and lots of super high reports of loneliness. And sometimes people think, oh, you know, but I talk to people all day, because you're online, you're commenting and you're liking and doing things like that. But it's not the same. It's not the same. You need to be able to see people. You need to be able to hear people. You need to be able to have a level of contact. You need to be able to hear inflection in a person's voice. Like, this is what brings about real connection. This is what helps us to feel connected to people and not alone. And if we're just doing it online, if we're just sending text messages, you can talk to 50,000 people all day and still feel incredibly lonely, because you're just not getting that connection that we are just like built to have and seek. So if there's any person who spends lots of time on social media and feels like that's enough, it's not. You have to find a way to, either in person or through video or at least on the phone, connect with real people. And I know there are some people who may say, well, I don't have, you know, a big family, or I don't have lots of friends or anything like that. And that's, you know, that's the reality for some people. Some people don't come from really big families, or don't just have a kind of built-in social circle, a huge social circle. And if that's the case, that's fine. Literally, do you have one person? I just want you to think of, and it could be somebody that you know from work, somebody in your family, a neighbor, or just somebody that you feel connected to and that you feel comfortable with. Do you have at least one person that you can talk to on a regular basis, not just pop in here and then you disappear, but that you can talk to and connect with on a regular basis, because even just having that one person can do so much good for your sense of self and for your own mental health. You know, even if it's just to talk to that person and to tell them, hey man, I'm really struggling. Like this is really hard for me. I'm having a rough time. Being able to say that out loud to another person who can say, yeah, me too, or oh really, tell me more about that. Yeah, what's wrong? But to be able to have that conversation, that is what helps us to feel better. That is what helps to lift our spirits. And so if somebody else will still say, well, I don't have that. I don't even have one person, not one friend, and all my family's crazy. I don't like none of them. And I don't want to, if I don't have anything at all, if you literally just feel like you are just one floating person, that's probably not true because most people are not. But if that's what you're feeling, even if you feel that, then okay, you can look into some opportunities to volunteer with other people. And there's lots of needs for that right now. Like there are lots of like shelters and food kitchens and things like that that need volunteers because they've had an increase in people coming who need the services. So being able to go, there are all types of places you can just look around locally and say, who needs volunteers? If it might becoming and passing out gloves and socks, people who need it, or coming and helping passing out food or anything like that. But anytime we are able to volunteer and help and give to other people, that helps us to feel more connected. And so I have here, helping others increases social interaction and increases the production of the happy hormone dopamine. So dopamine is something that our bodies make anytime we're feeling good and when we're feeling happy. And lots of times we'll get this too when we work out. And so there's something called the helper's high. So people, you guys have probably experienced this if you have ever been involved in any type of volunteer event that was positive for you and that went well. You're able to kind of interact with people and help people and do sorts of different things. Usually at the end of it, you're like, oh, I feel so good. Or if you've ever thought about how, like, let's say you go to the store or something and you have $100 and you spend $100 on yourself. Okay, that's fine. I'm feeling good. I bought these shoes or whatever it is. But if you go to the store with that same $100 and you spend it on other people, you come out feeling so much better. Like, oh, I got this for my mother. Oh, she's going to love it. I got this for my son. Oh, I can't wait to see him try it on. Like, it just feels so much better. You're spending that same amount of money, but you're giving to other people. And so when in giving to other people, we're really giving to ourselves because it activates the brain and it gives us that helper's high. So another thing that's super important too, I just see a typo that's supposed to say curate your living environment. And so what that means is that right now, we don't have any control of this pandemic. We don't know how long it's going to go on. We don't know what's going to happen. Rates are going up, rates are going down. That's absolutely outside of our control. And just in general, anytime we step out of our house, we don't have any control of what's going on. When you go to the grocery store, when you're just walking down the street, you don't know what other people are going to do, what they're going to say. You don't know what's going to happen. Everything is outside of your control. But at least in your house, in the place where you live, you have control of that environment. You control what comes in and what goes out. So we owe it to ourselves to curate our living environment, meaning to really design it in a certain way, be specific about how do I want my house to feel? Because I live here, I spend time here, I wake up here, I go to bed here. I want this place to feel like a peaceful place to me. I want it to feel home. I want it to feel comforting. So reduce clutter. A lot of people, and especially now, because I think because people are spending so much time at home and they're trying to distract themselves from feelings of anxiety, people are ordering lots and lots of things online, lots of unnecessary things. And so the house can start to fill up because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, there's my 15th Amazon delivery box. You got all this stuff around your house. And so our house, what we create in our house and the physical environment in our house is a reflection of what's going on in our mind. And so I bet you all can relate to the feeling of, let's say you let your house or your room get really messy and just looking at it, like just seeing it just like makes you feel bad, just gives you anxiety, like, I need to get out this room or clean it up or something, but I hate to see this. And so when we have physical clutter around us, that's usually a representation that we have a lot of mental clutter going on too. And so we got to get that out. We have to be able to release it. And so going through, if you feel like, yeah, my house needs to be cleaned up, I need to do better than this, and just going through things and figuring out, okay, what can I throw away? What can I give away? What can I sell? Or what do I just need to reorganize and just put it in, put it in cute little containers or baskets or do something so that it is visually appealing, because it's so important for us to be able to engage our senses. So our 5 senses, that's how we experience the world. Like, that's one of the mercies that Allah has given us so that we can know the world. We know it because we see it, we smell it, we taste it, we hear it, we touch it. So in your house, you want to engage your senses. So I have on here scents. What scents do you like? If you like, for me, like rose, I love rose scented anything. So like I have these rose scented candles that smell so good. And anytime like I turn those on and I let them burn, like I just can't be in a bad mood. I can't, like that smell just for me, it really, really lifts me up. Or textures in your bed. What type of sheets do you have? If you got some of them old sheets that, sometimes they'll get that little a little peely stuff on them where it feels like it's like cracker crumbs. So get rid of them sheets, man. We not sleeping on the cracker crumb sheets. Get some new sheets. If you like what is it? Like the satin sheets or something. If you like the super high thread count, and those can be expensive. So everybody can do that. And I recognize that. But at the very least, get some new sheets. Make your bed up every morning. So this is something my daughter taught me, my 11-year-old daughter. She gets up every morning and she always makes her bed. And I just noticed that. And I didn't even tell her to do it. She just does it. And so every time I will walk past her room, I'm in her room now, I would always just see that bed. And it would just always make me feel like, oh, like, look at that room, look at that bed. And so after seeing her, I was like, you know what, this 11-year-old girl can do it. I'm grown, I can do this too. And so I learned from her to, like, at the very least, make your bed up. Like, get up. It don't take that long. Make your bed up. Put your pillows on there. I had all these cute little pillows. They were on the floor and like knotted up in the corner and stuff. Put your pillows on there. Make it look nice so that every time I can come into my room, I can be great. Usually in your room, your bed's going to be the biggest thing. It's like the focal point. Your eye goes there first. So I can come in and be greeted by a nice, beautiful looking bed that's welcoming me, so that when I go to bed, I know, oh, I've been getting that. Okay, like that feels good. That feels good because it looks nice and I took the time. Um, so also visuals, just making your house visually appealing. Now, of course, part of this would require spending money. Not everybody has the money to do that. So somebody says, well, I don't have money. I can't go buy anything new. Well, that's absolutely fine. Then don't buy a thing new. Just go and redecorate what you have. Or you may have, sometimes you might have some old pictures that you never hung up. Hang those up. Or you may have some other things that you have in this room. Move it to another room. Just move things around so that you can make it just whatever you have. Even if you're like, oh, I live very, very modestly. That's okay. You can have your very modest home, but make it as appealing as you can to yourself. And also audio and taste. So sounds, what type of sounds are you filling your home with? So usually when we think of sounds, we think of like, oh, okay, are we having like music or something like that? And that is part of it, but also the sounds of your own mouth. What are you saying? How are you acting people? How are you treating people? So I have here your attitude as a part of your home environment. So are you, the things that you are saying, are they helping to create an atmosphere of peace and then making it welcoming for yourself and other people in the house? And so if it's not, then just think on that, just think on that and say, and this is not a time where we want to go into a lot of really harsh and heavy judgment, because that's not going to help us. So if you find that, oh, well, I do have a bad attitude, or I am arguing all the time, let's just say, okay, I recognize that and I need to change it. So, because it doesn't do any good to create this beautifully visually appealing atmosphere in your house, but your attitude is ugly, because the attitude is still going to add to the energy of the house. So we want to make sure, yes, we're making our physical things beautiful, but we also want our character and our words to be beautiful too. Okay. Okay, and so these are some different relaxation tips, things that you can do to help you just kind of relax your body and to feel good and to relax more. And so I have apps. So there are a lot of different apps that we can download on our phones that have like guided meditations, or they have relaxing music, or they have like even different courses and things like that. So one that I have that I like is called Insight Timer. It's free. And there's like most apps, there's a paid version on there that gives you access to more stuff. But even the free one is nice. And they have, like I said, guided meditations on there, and different things that you can listen to at night to kind of help relax your body and calm you down, and just get you in a peaceful state. Also, there's Calm and Headspace. You guys have probably heard of those. Those are the two like really popular ones. You can look into that. There's also I hate this word. I feel like I say it wrong, but binaural beats. And so binaural beats are, it's basically like relaxing music, the type of music that you would hear like at a spa, or like meditation type music. But the difference about it is that it has like an underlying tone that is made up of two different frequencies. So they're similar, but they're different. So like one frequency might be like 200 hertz and the other one might be like 205 hertz. So it's not that big of a difference, but it's a big enough difference that our brains can detect it. And so when you listen to this type of music with headphones on, so one beat can be coming, one frequency can be coming into the left ear, the other frequency can come into the right ear. What it does is it creates like an auditory illusion, because the brain is always going to want balance. So even though those two things are little, like they're asymmetrical, they're not even, the brain will try to even them out and create like a third imaginary tone, and that can be it can be relaxing to your mind. So there are apps that you can download that have those, or there are tons of them that you can get on YouTube, and just check it out and try it. So this is the sort of thing where for some people it works great, and they're like, oh man, like I love it, I put it on to study, because there are different frequencies, and the different frequencies can help your brain respond in different ways. And other people say, I got nothing from it. So just try it out and just see if you like it, but you need to have earphones on when you're doing it, so that one ear can be getting one frequency and the other ear can get the other frequency. So also meditation, dhikr, doing lots of or listening to beautiful recitation. So this for me, like this gets me through. I know not so much meditation. I do that sometimes, but not as much. But literally just being able to sit and just doing dhikr, just going over 99 names of Allah, like that takes the pressure off of my heart. Like I literally feel that. I love listening to Quranic recitation. And there's so many beautiful ones on YouTube, but there's a guy that I really like. His name is Omar Hisham. He has such a beautiful voice, such a beautiful voice. So I like to listen to him, especially at night, to calm me and to calm my children down and my family. And then it also has on there the English translation. So if you're a person who does not know Arabic like me, I do not, you can read the English translation also. So that's very helpful. And then also another thing that you guys can listen to, absolutely love. So I found this group on Instagram. They're called Beautiful Chorus, and they make like meditation music, and it's just so beautiful. And I want to play at least a few seconds of it, not the whole thing. But they have very, very relaxing music. So some of them have words, some of them are just like kind of sounds. It's all a cappella. So if there's anyone who's like, I don't listen to music, that's fine, because there are no instruments in it. It's just their voices kind of blending together beautifully. And so they are called Beautiful Chorus, and I will play maybe just a few seconds of this. You guys hear?
Release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me.
Okay, so that's a bit of it. That one is 7 minutes long, and it's just the same thing over and over. But I just love that, like that harmony, Come on. I just really, really love that. Like I put that on, have my lights low, my candles. Come on. Like it's a whole vibe. It's a whole vibe. Like I really like them. You guys have to get into them. Follow them on Instagram, Beautiful Chorus. Check out their YouTube, their Spotify. They are just the best. Okay, so let's see, what else do I have? Okay, so also, another tip, progressive muscle relaxation. So I was doing this last night. So a lot of us, without even realizing it, we walk around in a state of tension. We carry tension in different parts of our bodies and don't even realize it. I know for me, it's always the shoulders. Like I have to remind myself, like, release your shoulders. Like I tell myself, your shoulders are not earrings. Stop trying to wear them on your ears. Release your shoulders, drop your shoulders. I always carry all my tension all up in here, and that upper back is always that. And so even just yesterday, probably because I was carrying a lot of tension and not realizing it, my whole upper back was just hurting. Like it felt like I had just done a huge workout or something. But I hadn't. I haven't been working out. I haven't been doing too much. But I was like, what is going on? And so I said, okay, let me do some of this progressive muscle relaxation. And so what this is so usually we carry around this tension, but we don't know it. So the muscle relaxation is intentionally tensing your body up, doing it as long as you can, and then releasing it. So for me, I was doing it with my shoulders. You can do it in any part of your body, but doing it with my shoulders. So for example, so I would tense up as hard as I can, hold it for like maybe 30 seconds and just hold it, like make it as tight as you possibly can. Hold it, and then just relax and just let it drop. And then you can do that again with different parts of your body. So for example, you could do it in your hands, like, because sometimes like if we're really stressed, we won't realize we'll be clenching our hands. And so have you ever like been really mad or something and then you look down, your hands are all red and sweat? Like we don't realize we're doing it. And so the progressive muscle relaxation, it lets us do it intentionally and we hold it tight, but then we get the release of relaxing it and getting to feel like, oh, that feels good. Because when you're doing it intentionally, then you can stop doing it intentionally. So instead of just having it in the background where we're tense and we don't realizing it, we're saying like, no, I'm going to tense this for this specific amount of time, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and then I'm going to release it. I'm going to breathe and I'm going to feel the relaxation of knowing that I released that. And so you can do that on any part of your body. You can do it in your toes. You can do it in your back, like any parts of your body, but just doing it a couple of times throughout the day, just being, like you can even do it like even in your jaw muscles. Like lots of times, we might have our mouth and our teeth clenched. So to do that and then relax, it can be very helpful. And so like I said, I did this last night. And when I woke up this morning, I was like, my back feels better. Like it literally does not feel like it did last night. So it's super helpful. Another one is square breathing. So this is a type of deep breathing where you breathe in for about 4 seconds, you hold it for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and you breathe out for 4 seconds. But the square part of it is that it just helps you to give you something to focus on so that you can, it helps you to time your breathing and give you a visual focal point. So for most people, you just need anything that's shaped like a square. So it can be the nearest window. It could be your door frame, even though that's not really square, it's a rectangle, but you can work with it. But anything that's shaped like a square. And so what you do is you focus on that thing, and with kind of in your head, as you breathe in, you trace the shape of it. So when you're starting, like let's say there's a window, I'm breathing in and I'm going up. I'm tracing up the length of the window. So I'm breathing in and I'm tracing up and I'm focusing on. So I may have a million things on my mind. I'm so mad. I don't know what to cook dinner. My kids getting on my nerves. My job's acting crazy, blah, blah, blah. But in this moment, all I'm doing is looking at this edge. I'm focusing all my energy on my breathing and focusing on this edge. So I'm going up the edge and I'm breathing in, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing in until I get to the top. And then I hold it. And then I'm going to go over to the side and I'm going to breathe out. I'm breathing out slowly over 4 seconds. I'm breathing out. Then I'm going to get to that edge. I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to breathe in again when I'm coming down. I'm going to, and then hold it and stop. And so you do it until you complete the whole square. And you can do that 3 or 4 times, however many times you need to do it. And it's just the same type of deep breathing, but it gives you just the visual focal point to help your mind to say like, okay, in this moment, whatever else is bothering me, let's put that on hold. I'm literally just looking at this square and tracing it and aligning my breathing with the movement. Also visualization. So this is super important, super helpful. I'm pretty sure everybody can probably think of a happy memory, a time where they were really happy, something really good happened, and you can feel that feeling. It comes up in your body. And even if it was forever ago, you might be like, oh, I remember that time when, I was 7 years old and my parents, took me to the store and let me buy this toy or whatever. Like that was a million years ago. But when you really let yourself visualize that, the feeling that you got from that event can come back up. So us doing visualizations of a happy memory, or I have container or protective figure. So a container is like visualizing something, some type of container that can hold your worries, can hold the things that are bothering you, hold the things that are causing you stress and anxiety, and you don't want to deal with it. And so this is something that I do with like therapy clients sometimes. And so I'll say, what type of, whatever it is that you're dealing with, okay, if you got like anxiety, let's say, for example, okay, you have really bad anxiety. Let's give this anxiety a color. What color is it? A lot of people will say red. Okay, it's red. What does it look like? What does anxiety look like? Some people might say, oh, it looks like a big blob, or it looks like a blinding pulsing light, or it looks like a monster, or whatever. Whatever it is, it's your head, it's your imagination, go with it. So what it looks like, oh, okay, it looks like this monster with these big eyes and it's furry. Okay, wow, okay. Now what type of container can we put this big monster in? It needs to be something big. If it's really big, this container needs to be big. So you can imagine it. You might say, oh, I'm imagining a huge, like a safe with really thick walls that nothing can get in and out. Okay, so let's imagine ourselves. We're putting this big scary anxiety monster. We're putting it in the safe. Can you see yourself putting it in the safe? Yeah, you can. Okay, he's trying to get out. Don't let him get out. No, we gotta put him in. Okay, let's shut the door real quick. So we really have to visualize it. Or like for me, my visualization is like, I love the beach, I love the ocean, I love water. So I imagine myself, so my container is the sand. I'm at the beach, I'm digging this big old deep hole in the sand, and whatever it is, my worries, my things that are bothering me, I'm putting them in that hole. I'm seeing myself, they're going down in that hole, and then I'm covering it back up, because you're not about to come up back out. I don't need you, I don't want you. So we're getting all the sand, we're putting it back on there. And then even the water's going to come and wash over, so it's going to make it nice and smooth, so you're really not getting out. So this is my visualization. So you guys can come up with a visualization of whatever your container is that you can put your worries and your scary feelings in. And then also a protective figure. So who is a person in your life who you always feel safe around, who will always make sure you're okay? For some people, they might say, okay, well, this is God. This is the love of God. So, okay, then let's imagine that. What does the love of God look like? A lot of people say it looks like a light, a white light or something like that. Okay, so let's imagine ourselves, we're in a bubble of this beautiful white light that's protecting us. Can you see that white light? Nothing can get through this. Nothing can get through it, because this represents the love of God, and this represents how safe we are. So these are other just visualizations that we can do. Also aromatherapy. So just I talked about this before, but having good scents, beautiful scents around us that really relax us and to help us feel good. And so there's a lot of research about lavender, about how it relaxes the brain and helps people to feel good. And that is true. If you like the scent of lavender, I don't. So for whatever reason, people love it. I'm like, oh, that smells crazy. So if you don't like it, I say it doesn't matter so much what the actual scent is, as long as it's something that is relaxing to you, especially if you have a particular like emotional connection to that scent. So some people might say like, oh, the scent of chocolate chip cookies, because my grandmother used to make them when I would go to her house. And so anytime I smell chocolate chip cookies, I think of my grandmother, and I think of how warm her house was and how welcome she is. So it doesn't matter what scent it is. It's just, is it a scent that makes you feel good and that can trigger happy memories in you? So it could be any scent that you like. Also, and this is the last tip, getting creative. So I have art and movement. So very much, I think a lot of us, we're not going as many places. We're just kind of sitting home being stagnant. That is not good for us. We need to get out. We need to move. When we move our bodies, we're also able to move our thoughts. When we're stagnant in our body, we can be stagnant in our thoughts. So getting into any type of artistic anything, drawing, painting, art, dance, movement, running, like anything that's going to activate the creativity in us, is always going to be good for our stress levels, always going to be good for our mind. So those are my overall tips. That's everything that I have for you guys.
Oh man, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So what we would like to do now is open it up for questions. If anybody on the call has questions, and I think Salima, are you monitoring the questions on Facebook or anything? Or
Yes, I will. So if you could stop sharing, Nadira, and then cool. Oh. So yes, I will be monitoring any questions online. But yeah.
Does anybody on our call now have questions?
I have a comment. First of all, Nadira, my youngest daughter is named Nadira. So I love that name.
Yeah.
And second, that Omar Hashem, that is my go to bed.
Come on.
Every night. I mean, seriously, every night. A friend of mine sent me one ayat by him. And I researched him and I pulled up everything I could find on
He's
him.
bad, man. He's bad.
Oh my God, what a relaxing voice in
Mm.
this. So beautiful. But anyway, your presentation was wonderful and it's right on time. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad you received it.
Okay.
Yes, I definitely 100% agree. Right on time. Right on time. Anybody else have anything?
So I feel attacked because I feel like you were talking about me, especially with the shoulders as earrings. Oh my God. Like the pain that has been in my back for weeks now. And I'm just like, oh, I just live with it. But it's like, yeah, that's where all of my tension, all of my stress is. I wake up in the morning, my husband says, how are you feeling? I'm like, oh, my back hurts. Like as if that's just the way it is. And so, yeah, I just feel like, yeah, it was right on time. It's just like, whoa, this is okay. Smells. I've been finding myself being more sensitive to smells, but more like, it's a lot of bodies in here. It smells like there's bodies in here. And so counteracting that and changing how I perceive things, how I think about things, and finding healthy, happy alternatives to that because I'm worth it. It's just, it's just like I'm going to chew on this for a while. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, I want to add to what you were saying, Nadira, along the lines of what Salima was saying. Can you all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because my Wi-Fi was going in and out. I'm on the road, but in terms of what Salima was like, I feel attacked, and that registered with me because I feel like for a lot of us, it gets so easy to make excuses and blame other external things for the conditions that we're in. And I love hearing you speak because it reminded us that we have more ownership for our reality than we give ourselves credit for, and that we actually are aware of. And I think for a lot of us, I know myself included, we're not in enough environments where people that are labeled as authorities and people of credential, right? People of merit. We don't have enough people in those positions that are really telling people the truth, telling them what they need to hear. Or people just are choosing to get in those circles. And I could be one of them speaking just for myself. Everyone on this call could be like, no, I'm constantly in a circle with people like Dr. Sister Nadira, who is giving this information. But for a lot of people, they're constantly surrounded by or people who give authority, right, to people with white coats, right, who don't necessarily have their best interests at heart, or who aren't in the business of really healing people and curing the things that are curable. They want to treat the things that are curable. And so hearing you was like medicine. And I wanted to tell you that it was so rich. I felt like every 2 to 3 minutes, I wanted to just be like, stop, let me process it. Like you gave us so much. And I'm just so grateful. So grateful.
Okay, well, I'm grateful too, and so I think this is funny because like you're saying like, oh, like I feel attacked. Like, trust, I'm only attacking myself. Like I made a video on Instagram like a couple of days ago saying how the things that I post, like I do this thing called therapy notes where I'll just kind of put like type of notes that maybe you would take if you're in therapy, but they're my therapy notes. So it's things that most of it applies to me. And so even though it applies to me and I'm thinking about Nadira when I'm writing these things, other people receive them too. And so the things that sometimes can feel like, oh, like this is just me, this is just my issue. No, it's not. Like, it's a universal thing. And so as I do my own work and as I speak to myself, the benefit just ripples out because other people have the same issues and it resonates with other people too. So even though you were feeling attacked, girl, I was just over here attacking me. It's just me.
It is all good. No, I just was expressing what I viscerally felt, but it was all good. It was like in a good way. Attacks are not good, but I just felt like, you you were in my home and you were watching me and you were telling me about myself. And I'm just like, well, how does she know all that? So that's kind of, but it's good. It's really good because it's giving me things to think about and how I can approach things differently.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in, and that's one of the things I've always loved about you, Nadira, is like you speak from your story and you share the tips, and it's always been like just that. It's just like, well, I'm gonna say this stuff and it's about me, but you're gonna also take these gems from it too. I think the question that was kind of forming in my head, because I too felt like you were like singing my life with every word that you were saying, is like, in this pandemic, I feel like I've become more sensitive, and part of that is because I've experienced loss, in a huge cluster. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like been a year and it's been like 5. I can like name 5 people off the top of my head. And so it's like, okay, in those moments of like grief is already hard, but then when you couple it with everything that's going on in the pandemic, like are there extra things that we can do, or like like what do we do with this sensitivity and this like these feelings, like what do we do with these feelings?
Okay, yeah. So particularly with grief, but grief is always hard because we've lost somebody that we love. And so the way that I kind of make sense of grief work is to say that, like, okay, we've lost this person, so the physical relationship is gone. We don't have that. So now what we have is to manage our relationship with the memory of that person. And so the work comes around, okay, what is it that I want to carry on from the memory of this person? What is it that I want to keep with me, and what is it that I need to work through? So lots of times, especially if we lose somebody who's like really important to us and close to us, we have, because everybody is complex, we're going to have like good parts of that person, of that relationship that we want to hold on to, and then we're also going to have some challenging parts about it. Like we may say, oh, okay, I lost my grandmother or something, and I loved her so much and she was so great. She was also kind of harsh sometimes. I mean, sometimes she would beat me and it would be crazy, and I really hated that. And so being able to integrate those feelings and to allow ourselves to say, like, on this one hand, I absolutely love this person and I miss them, but whatever type of more challenging feelings that you have, allow yourself to feel that too, without any guilt, without any shame or anything, and just say, okay, like this is just part of the complexity of life. These are some of the things that I didn't like. These are some things that were hurtful for me, but this is what I'm holding on to. This is what I want to carry forward. And so in managing the memory of the person, finding ways to do things, and this can be around like creating rituals so that we can carry with us whatever the best of that person was. So you might say, oh, okay, I absolutely loved, whoever it was that I lost. They were so giving. They were so giving and kind. And I feel like they instilled that in me. So part of my way to carry on that part of their spirit, part of my way to manage my memory of that person is to be more giving. So I'm going to volunteer more, or I'm going to just be more giving in my own relationships. I'm going to make it a point to be more giving with my children, or to be more giving with my husband, or whoever it is, or this other person. The biggest part that I took from them was she was always making people laugh and always making people smile. And that always made me feel good. So I'm going to, in order to manage my memory of that person, I'm going to make a bigger effort to bring happiness and joy into other people's lives, and to make sure that I fill my house with the same type of vibe and energy that they brought to me. So I would say, just for the people that you have lost, being able to allow yourself, so whatever feelings that you may have, they may be a mix of good and bad. That's usually the case. Allowing yourself to be able to hold on to that and be able to say, oh, okay, like I may have had this particular issue with this person, or maybe this thing that they did to me hurt me or didn't go well. And that's true. And I'm not going to try to deny that. I'm not going to try to ignore it. That's a reality. But that also doesn't take away the good aspects that they had of them. And so I can allow myself to hold both of these things and not feel that it takes away from anything. Because sometimes what we'll try to do is we might lose somebody that's important to us. And because of our loyalty to them, we will try to like block out maybe those bad parts, or not like acknowledge it in ourselves, because we feel like, well, this was my mother, or this was my friend, or whatever. And like, I don't want to be a horrible daughter. They've already passed. I can't be sitting up here saying, well, they really hurt me. I can't be sitting up here saying, well, I didn't like the way that they did that. I can't be sitting up here saying, well, they really spent a lot of time away from home and I kind of felt alone. And so we kind of push those feelings down. We don't want to acknowledge it, but they're still there. They're still in our body, and we can't ignore it. It's there. So being able to say, no, I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge that, even though this is hard, I don't want to do it. I'm going to acknowledge that, like, these are the hurts that I suffered at the hands of this person, or these are the challenges that we had, and still I love them, and still I got something good for them. And so whatever it is good that I got from them, that's what I'm going to make it a point to hold on to, and that's what I'm going to try to surround myself and keep in my life.
I feel like I want to snap at you. Sandira, do you have a question?
Yes. Do you take Cigna insurance?
So I don't. So I don't accept any type of insurance. So
Look, listen, people, listen to me now. If we don't do nothing else for the rest of the week, we need to make it our number one priority to get this sister on some insurance. When I tell you, I swear, if all of us work together, we can make it happen. Because this sister here, she's getting all my money.
So I'll tell you. So here's the thing with insurance. So I've been in this field since like 2006, but I just got licensed in February, because once I had kids, I had a lot of detours and starts and stops and all types of things. And so I was just doing like unlicensed work. So I just got licensed in February. So my license is what's called a provisional license. And you can't accept insurance provisional license. So I have to get a fully unrestricted license, which the soonest I can do it is like June of next year. That's if I get all my hours in, supervision hours. And then I'll be able to get on insurance panels and things. So that's why I don't take it now. I just can't.
I can't help you get no hours, but is there money involved? Is there money involved with you getting this license? How much money you need?
It's super expensive. Like, people don't realize how much it costs to get to have a license and to maintain it. So like, I have to have, I think it's like 200 hours of supervision where I have to sit with a licensed person who is approved by this particular board and went through all these different steps. And I have to like consult with them on my cases, just to kind of make sure like I'm not doing nothing crazy or sending anybody down the wrong path. And so I do that usually like twice a month. And so I just have to make sure that I add up all my hours. And the soonest I can get all my hours is in 2 years. So since I started June of 2019, the soonest I can get out, if I have all the hours, is June 2021.
But it raises a good question. If somebody can afford to see you, outside of insurance, like how would they interface with you?
Yeah. So what I'm doing now, so hopefully they change this soon, because I feel like their rules are outdated, because everybody's online and doing everything online. But the way the rules are for the licensing board, so I'm a marriage and family therapist. So the Association of Marriage and Family Therapists, the rule is that you cannot be a therapist for somebody who's in a state that you are not licensed in. So my license is in Missouri and in Kansas. So I cannot operate as an actual therapist or call myself therapist for anybody who's outside of those states. But you can do coaching, because there are no state regulations around that. So I do have clients who are in other states that I do, and it's still like a similar work. That like there's no diagnosing in coaching. So if you come to me as a coach, I'm not going to be able to give you any official diagnosis. But I feel like in general, most people don't need those anyway. They're not always helpful. But so there are like a couple of little differences, but that I can still be of service and I still have clients. It's just that I'm not operating as a therapist, or not, I can't use that title, but I can be a coach.
And so how do people reach you?
Okay. So I have a website. So my website is healinghertrauma.com. And it's just HEALINGHER trauma, TRAUMA.com. And so that has links on it. It has like, you can schedule, consultations are always free. You can schedule one of those on there. You can send me an email. I think it has my phone number on there. It's pretty easy to get in contact with me.
Okay. We did have another question online. The question was, can you give some insight for single people who had hoped to meet a partner through interaction in the masjid or Islamic event. But now with COVID, people do not meet like they used to.
Oh yeah, so that's really tough. And I feel like just now the different Islamic events compared to when I was younger, they're just not as big, and it's not as many people there. Like when we were younger, like Basima knows, we was in there trying to get our husbands to stop because there was just so many people around. And I feel like now it's not like that. And it kind of makes me sad for my kids because I'm like, oh, I want them to be able to have that experience. But because things have just changed and the dynamics are not really what they are, I think for somebody who's single, and I feel like if I were single, we just have to be really creative and really open to other avenues of meeting people. So it used to just be like, okay, well, I'm just go, meet somebody in college or meet somebody at a Muslim convention or something like that. But as of right now, it's harder to do that. So I think lots of people I've been seeing more like matchmaking services pop up. So I'm thinking if I were single, I would look into that, like investing in, someone who knows how to match people up and who has a list of people that they can draw from and say, oh, okay, she's single, this is what she's looking for. So I would encourage that. Or also just being open. I think the more that you are around other people, and it can be in an online setting or in person, the more likely you are to come into contact with somebody who could be a potential mate for you. So are you going, I mean, now there aren't too many physical events to go to, but even online events, are you showing up there? Are you being, present? Are you showing your face? Are you letting people know, like, hey, I'm interested in meeting somebody, I'm looking, and not that you got to have it on a shirt or do it like, we don't want to send desperate energy, but just to be open to it and let people know that, like, I am interested in meeting somebody, or I am open to getting into talks with somebody. So just kind of putting feelers out there and not just being passive and sitting and waiting for somebody to come knock on your door, because they're not going to come knocking. Like, you have to find a way to get out as much as you can, either virtually or in person, get out and interact with people.
I think, yeah, that's great. Did you have something? I had another follow-up question.
No, I was just go ahead.
Okay. So on the other side, there's a lot of people struggling with their marriages. Alhamdulillah, I'm blessed in that way, but I've seen a lot of people go through divorce because they have been spending that, I guess, more time together, or there's just more stressors because of financial whatever. And so just wondering if you have any advice for our sisters or whomever who may be, dealing with those struggles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's really, really hard because a big part of this pandemic, like, it's brought us into the house. We're not out as much. We're not going to work. So people have lost money, but people have also lost access to their distraction. So like lots of times people might be like, oh, well, I usually go play basketball with the boys, but I'm not doing that. Or, I usually go, hang out with the girls once a week, but I'm not doing that. Or I usually go to the rec center to do this or whatever. But whatever our distractions are that can usually kind of help us feel okay and just kind of get through it, and to not focus on like the softer areas or the areas that are hard for us, the things that are hard for us. Now we don't really have those opportunities. So now we just left sitting in the house with our feelings, and all of our traumas and stuff is coming up, and we can't go nowhere to deal with it. Or, people that usually will like go out to the bar and drink, they can't, well, I don't know, bars might be open again, but at least for a while, those were closed. Or people might usually just, spend their time partying or like traveling and just doing something to get your mind off of it. I don't have to think about it. I'm just going to do this thing that feels fun and that feels good. We don't have access to those right now. And so people are really left at home with their feelings. And so that can actually be, if we're open to doing the work, that can be a good thing for us. But it requires a lot of vulnerability. It requires a willingness for couples to kind of sit with each other and to be able to say, okay, like, this is what's going on. This is what's coming up for me. Because a lot of couples, especially once you have kids, it can be very, very easy to get in like autopilot, where it's just like, okay, we just doing our thing. We take care of the kids, pick them up from school. Okay, yeah, okay, I see it. Okay, real quick. And that's it. And it's not, the connection is not really there because you guys are just busy with work and kids and everything else. And so now that you have this time where you are able to sit with each other, it can be hard because all types of things are coming up, but you can also use it as an opportunity to say, okay, let's reassess, let's reevaluate what's going on. Like, if we're arguing a lot, what is it that we can do differently? If we need to, like, even if sometimes it's just a space issue, like, give me some space, get off me. Like, why are you so close to me? Okay, well, then maybe we need to say, okay, we can't really go anywhere, but during the day, we're just going to set it up. This is going to be my little area. The living room. That's going to be my area. I'm going to kind of chill and do my thing over there. And the bedroom, that can be your area. And so we'll just give each other some space. And then at the end of the day, at least we can kind of miss each other a little bit because we weren't just, sitting in each other's face all the time. Sometimes it's just practical things like that. Like, can we literally just find a way to give each other some space? Or can we just find a way to sit and talk since we have this time now, since we can't distract? Let's talk about the elephant in the room that we've been trying to ignore, or we've just been doing all these other things. So let's really talk about, our finances have not really been in a good place. So let's take a chance. If we don't know enough about it, let's get us a financial advisor, or let's watch a YouTube video. You can learn anything on YouTube University. Let's sit and do that. Let's set a date. We're going to watch a video on YouTube, or we're going to do something. But instead of thinking of all this time together, it's like, oh hell, I gotta sit with this person, and just thinking of it that way, saying, this is an opportunity for us to really go through our relationship with a fine-tooth comb and see what needs to be fixed. What are our strengths? Whatever strengths that we find, let's go with that. Let's build on that. Where are our weaknesses? What do we want to do with that? So that hopefully over time, you can come out of this and say, man, that pandemic was rough, but I got closer to you.
Beautiful.
Yes, I feel like I could just sit here and listen to you all day. You just the timbre of your voice is beautiful too. So it's just kind of like, and then you're dropping all of these gems. I feel like we could sit here all day and listen to you. Any other questions or comments for our lovely guest? I'm looking online to see if I see anything, and I don't. Let me check one other place. No, we just had a comment. Said, alhamdulillah, so glad I joined this beautiful gem of information. So it was one of the comments we got from one of our listening audience out there in YouTube land. And so, I just want to, again, thank you so very much. This has been amazing. And I am so glad that you were able to rearrange your schedule and fit us in, because this was everything. We are so grateful for what you have shared with us today and the things that you have given us to be able to go back with and implement and try out. I'm definitely going to look up this Omar Hisham with the 99 names and those things to, help, clean out the clutter in my head and getting back to balance, which is what this program is about. Self-alignment sessions is about getting us to the point where we're caring for ourselves, so we're finding the middle road, the balance, right? That's as Muslims, many of us who are Muslims, that is what we subscribe to. And so a lot of the things that you gave us today, I think, is in full alignment with that. And we are so very grateful for what you have shared with us today. And so I posted in the chat on Facebook, and I will post on YouTube as well, how you can get in contact with her, www.healinghertrauma.com. For more information, or if you are listening and you need a speaker for your event, there you go. So please, let's support her. And when you do get fully licensed, let us know so we can share that as well, because, I'm like, can I become a client? I was already there. But, we're going to respect the law so you can keep your license. If we can get in contact you and support your work, please let us know how we can do that. Okay. Basima, did you have any other comments?
Oh, this is excellent. We just thank you so much, Nadira. We really appreciate it. Really.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I've loved being here.
I think Fatima had a comment.
I was gonna say that I just feel like you really gave us a lot. I screenshotted your list. Okay. list. And I just was like, and I feel like, you really hit all those different areas as far as, we lost a lot of people. That was very emotional for me. I was with the SEMA, and
Mhm.
managing that marriage, balancing that and the things that many people are going through this year. And I don't know, I just feel like you gave us a lot. And so I'm just kind of like, I don't even know. Like, you gave us so much information. I don't even have any questions because I feel like I need to go act on what you gave us. But it
Okay.
was just very valuable. So I just wanted to say that it was very valuable and I definitely appreciate it. I appreciated everything that you shared.
Okay. Well, I'm so glad that you guys received it. Like literally, that was my prayer. Like, Allah, let this to be helpful for people, and let me be able to say something that really reaches people and that resonates with people. Like, that's always my goal. So I'm helpful. I'm happy that you guys were able to receive it and get something out of it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And to your point, it was a lot. So you can go back and watch this in replay on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Muslimat Collective. And make sure you like or follow our page while you're going back and look at it. You can also find us on YouTube. Muslimat Collective is on YouTube now. We don't have a dedicated link yet because we don't have enough subscribers. So that's another thing you could do. You can subscribe to our channel so that you can rewatch this program, but also see the other programs that we have done since September. And for new programs that we will be doing, you'll get a notification that we have a live coming up or a live is happening and you can tune in. So giving you 2 jobs: go to Facebook, like our page, go to YouTube, subscribe, so that you can see all of this wonderful content, and you can stay up to date with the things that we have going on. So before we go, it's not over yet, almost, but give us a few more minutes. I want to take this.
Can Nadira give her social media information? Did she already give that?
Oh, okay. No, I didn't give it, but so it's healing. So I am on Facebook and Instagram at Healing Her Trauma. So it's all one word.
Okay. Thank you. And I will post those in the chat in a few seconds, so that you can access that. So Muslimat Collective, excuse me. We have some more events and activities coming up in the very near future. So our most recent event, our next event coming is our Back to Life Ladies Game Night that we do every first Saturday of the month. So that will be November. I always don't have my calendar up. That would be November 7th. So join us back here on Facebook and YouTube. We usually do it in the evenings, and we always have a lot of fun. I think this time, Fatima, will you let us know what game we're playing?
One gotta go.
One gotta go. So this is, we give you a list of things and you tell us which one's gotta go and why. So, but the beautiful thing about it, our game nights, is that there are women coming from all over. This quarantine period, has taken everything online. So it's given us an opportunity, looking at the brighter side, to reach people who we typically wouldn't reach because they're not based here in Houston. And so we've had a good number of participation outside of Houston. That's been really wonderful aspect of this. But anyway, we come together, we laugh, we talk, we get to know each other, and we compete. And it gets competitive, it gets a little heated sometimes, but all in a good way. And it's for us creating space so that we can share space with each other, and find connection, even if you're not finding it in your world. Then we're creating space for you to find connection. So come back here November 7th. It'll probably be probably around 7:30. We did last time, Central Standard Time, and join us. Please register. We'll send out those links soon so that, again, we can protect the space. Even though we are streaming it live, we do protect the Zoom space so that people who don't have good intentions don't join our company. So look forward to that. And then our next event after that is our Beyond the Veil Fashion Show, which is virtual this year. This will be our 4th annual event. And we are super, super excited about that coming. And that will be November 14th. So you're going to get 2 Muslimat Collective events back to back. And those tickets are on sale now, but I'm going to share my screen so I can tell you a little bit more about it. Hopefully I can find it this time. It's not going to let me be great. We're going to try again. Okay, so I'm going to have to come off of this and try again. It's all right. Usually I look like I know what I'm doing. Today it's like, nope, we're not going to let you be great. And we're just not going to do that because, yeah, let me make sure I need to change my settings here. Give me just a second. Okay, we're going to try one more time and see if it's going to pop up for me. It will not pop up for me. Okay. So we're not about to do that. All right, no problem. We're going just. So I had a little cute little video for you and everything, but it's just not meant to be today for whatever reason. It's not going to show up. Anyway, so the Beyond the Veil Fashion Show is coming November 14th. Tickets are on sale now at www.muslimatcollective.com. But if you are liking our page, you will see all of that information. And this year, our tickets are free for a limited time. So do not wait till the last minute because then you're going to have to pay for it. So go ahead, go to www.muslimatcollective.com, get your free ticket, and also drop us a donation because these things don't happen for free. And we appreciate your support. And then join us on November 14th. So this event, unlike our other events, will not be streamed to our open platforms. So if you do not get a ticket, you will not get to see the show. And it's only going to be shown live at that time. The other thing is that get it early because there is a cutoff date. And so once that cutoff date happens, please don't send us a text message and ask us, I need the link, while we're in the show because it's a full production. And so there's a whole team of people who are going to be running the backstage and we won't have time. So I'm being funny, but honestly, get your tickets. It's free. It takes you like 5 minutes and then come and have a really good time with us. So be on the lookout for that. And I think that is, team, let me know. I take care of all of the housekeeping. Oh, no, I forgot one thing. So if you like what you saw here today, if you did not like it, if you have suggestions, recommendations, please, 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 I'm going to put it in the chat here and I'm also going to put it online. Please give us your feedback. We cannot do this without you. And we need to know what we're doing well, what we need to keep, what we need to get rid of, what we need to add. So I've added it in the chat here. Please take 5 minutes and answer our survey to let us know how you enjoyed or this event or things that you wish that we can improve upon or add to it so that we can continue to improve what we're doing. It is anonymous, so feel free to be honest. And we do read the surveys and we do incorporate that information back into our next section so that we make sure that we are continuing to improve and bring to the people what they want. So please, please, please help us by giving us your feedback. And then, so now, did I forget anything? Nope. All righty. Well, Basima, if you can go ahead and close us out. You don't have to make dua, but just the final comments. And then while I put these things in the chat, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just wanted to close out by thanking our special guest, Nadira, once again. We really appreciate you and all of the gems that you dropped for us here today. And, we appreciate everybody who's on the call, everybody who's watching live. Please continue to follow and support us. We're trying to bridge the gap of loneliness, as Nadira talked about. So if you're feeling lonely, if you're not feeling lonely and you just want some time with friends, then definitely join us on our first Saturday event, the game night, and our third Saturday event, the SAS. The SAS activities. And then, of course, we have our fashion show coming up on November 14th. And so we're super, super excited about that. So as Salima stated, please get your tickets if you have not already. They are free for now. And this event is a super special event because since it's virtual, like my mama and them from North Carolina and anybody else who would like to watch it this year, you have the ability to do that without having to travel. So definitely want everybody to take advantage of that opportunity and share it with your network. So if you're listening now, then please definitely help us out by sharing our content, our flyer with the people in your circle. And so that's it. I think our survey has been posted on all the locations. So make sure, please take the survey and help us help with what we bring forward next time. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and end this call. Yeah, super grateful, super excited about like just taking some of these tips into the future. So thank you so much.